welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's Kriss and Dpalm here. We are finally here to review and discuss the latest Netflix show from Marvel TV, Iron Fist. A young man is bestowed with the incredible martial arts skills and mystical force known as the Iron Fist. Obviously, there's a lot of you could say there was some chatter.
Chatter's a good way to start. It's a good way to start it.
There is some chatter about this show. I mean, honestly, like before we even get into the quality of the show, I can just say like this show is one of those shows that it's much like the Ghost in the Shell stuff. It's like once they announced it and you saw where they were going, you were just like, you have an uphill battle. Like in no matter what you thought of it, and no matter what the quality of it was, it had an uphill battle to adjust to. And I'm gonna be honest here, I don't think they did themselves any favors with some of the things and choices they made with promotion. And let's just say Finn Jones should have just kept his fucking mouth shut. He did not help himself there. And I also think, and this is something that I've noticed with Netflix shows, it's something I noticed with video games like Mass Effect Andromeda, and this is just a general thing. You probably don't, if your show or game or whatever picks up towards the back half of itself, you probably don't want to give early reviewers only the first few episodes or the first few hours of said show or game, because you're going to set yourself up for failure. And that's the first thing that I learned from these Iron Fist reviews that came out. They were only reviewing the first 6 episodes, and I think that's something that you and I will agree on. This show definitely picks up it has better pacing than other Netflix shows, and it picks up towards the end of losing steam.
It's so weird because, like when you mentioned, like even if you go back to even House of Cards, like other Netflix shows, they front load the shows.
Right.
So they get the good critical thing, but the critical also has been the Marvel, the Netflix, the problem of the back half, the problem of pacing, right, which I think that this show on a whole addressed. Right. But because they didn't cater to the first 6 thing, they paid for it. It was so weird because as I was watching, I was like, I could if my experience stopped at 6, I'd probably be like, well, I can see where it was going, but now you stopped me. Like,
yeah,
so I'm just gonna review and be a little bit angry.
I think it's one of those things where they do it because, and it's a catch-22. Like you don't give reviewers, because reviewers can be dicks. So you don't give reviewers the entire 13 episode season, because dickholes will go out there and they will spoil the entire 13 episodes before anybody can see before the end of the show. So that's a real problem why you only give them the first 6. I get that. However, you also got to know that people are going to come up and, again, forget using this. I'll use the Mass Effect Andromeda thing. Same thing happened with Mass Effect Andromeda. People were like, they played the first couple hours and like, oh man, this thing sucks. And I'm like, yeah, the game doesn't pick up until you found your first outpost. So,
Slow down.
Well, no, I mean, it's not a spoiler. This is like, it's
no. Taking our time with this game.
Oh, I know. But I'm just saying, it doesn't, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but like, you end up having to found outposts. Like, until you do that, though, the game, you're just kind of learning the ropes of how to do certain things.
It's a super long tutorial.
Right. So, like, if you're only having people play the tutorial and they're going, man, this story, I just don't get it. I'm like, well, you're just playing the intro. Duh. So, but
well, they keep telling me how to shoot. Hey, man, maybe you're learning the game.
Right. It's so like you can't judge the game from there. And things can get better. And I will also say this, because I'm way more critical of the show than I think you will be with this. I think this is another situation where, how can I put this? Because I do believe there are some people that had legit beef and gripes. I also think there's some opportunistic reviewers who
outrage trade.
Yeah, it's like I can pile on, because here's the thing. I think this show was at like 16% or something like that on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not that bad. It's not. It's Nowhere near it.
It's
Not even
also like
close.
the second fastest, it's the second most streamed Marvel one yet.
Well,
So like it's very strange how people were saying these things.
so and that goes to the second point where like you can't you if you're going to I think this is a show that if you for the last 2 years were like I'm not gonna like this show, but then you went and you binged the show anyway, I gotta ask why, because you
Me too.
because what you did there is unlike TV where hey unless you have a Nielsen box you're not really counting your ratings. Netflix is different. If you watch the show, your numbers count because it's streaming and it's Netflix and it counts. So if you were against the show, which I have no problem with people being against the show, you shouldn't have watched it because then you watched it and you gave them that numbers. And so like you said, it's one of the fastest binge and stream shows, and it has the numbers there, and nobody's gonna learn a lesson from it. So like you shouldn't have done that. And I also think that the negative reviews were so over the top then I got this myself. Like I think there were some major issues with this show. I think it's the weakest out of the even with the pacing improvements. I think it's the weakest out of the shows they've done. The reviews were so negative and so over the top that by the time I ended the show, I was like, yeah, it wasn't that bad though, guys. Like you guys are making it seem like it's the worst show ever. And no, some of the things you guys complain about are in all the Netflix shows. And so you're
Right.
just using that to pile on. You didn't care about in the other shows, but now it really sticks out. And I get that, right? If there's whitewashing in a show in a show and and it does something small, that small thing is going to look like a mountain all of a sudden. Just how that fucking works. So I get that, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, guys, you didn't have to go over the top with like, oh my god, the writing is so terrible. Like, there's some bad writing in here, but there's some bad writing in all the fucking shows. It wasn't that over the top, and it's just like there's enough. Like people were making it seem like there was nothing good and redeemable about this show, and I can't go that far. You know, even with my major problems with it.
It's almost like people are trying to outrage each other, out condemn the show.
Right. And like you can be very critical of the choices they made and things they did, but that requires actually putting thought in it and just going, "Oh my, this is fucking garbage." Like that's not an actual critique or review. That's just you honestly parroting what somebody else said and you're just kind of going along with that. Like and I think most people that went in and didn't really have any skin in the game and watched it kind of came out with it like yeah, I was waiting for it to be as terrible as the review said, but it wasn't. And then that leads to people going back, well, yeah, no, I don't see what the problem is. It's like, well, no, there are like there's a middle ground here.
And I'm one of the people who I guess I'll be on an island here. It's top three Marvel Netflix for me.
Oh, really?
I it, I don't want to give my ranking right now because I don't want to start a fight right this second. I'll start in a minute. But yeah, like as you go back and like because I rewatched it.
Mm-hmm.
It there's a lot of internal consistency. Like I think a lot of it is part of like you said the outrage machine that kind of started before the show even really got off the ground. But part of it's also I think it was marketed poorly.
I don't think they liked it. Everything from what I'm seeing so far, what they did with this show, it seems out of the norm for what they've done with other Netflix shows.
Well, because it's not this. It's the story they tried to tell us in the commercials of I guess like heavy kung fu. That's not what the story was ever going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was never going to be a fight heavy Daredevil type of show. It was never going to be that. Iron Fist, the book, the character isn't that.
Right.
It becomes that eventually once Danny Rand figures out who he is with the Iron Fist. But like you and I did the character corner. There's a lot of self soul searching early Danny. It's not
Absolutely.
the most dynamic thing to put on screen.
Right.
And they conditioned us to expect something else. And it's so weird because because Daredevil is that. Mm-hmm. But because we're so conditioned, we don't realize that Jessica Jones wasn't that. And Luke Cage wasn't that.
You know what it comes
But with this one,
yeah.
With this one, it felt like we were getting back to the Daredevil thing. And a season one of Iron Fist was never going to be the Kung Fu Ninja heavy thing that we all kind of think we want.
Yeah, but I think, and this is where I agree with that on that, and I'm fine with that. and I'll just go right out and say it, man, because I think Finn Jones was a terrible choice for this role. I think he was terrible. I like, to me, the difference between those other Netflix shows is, even when the pacing is bad in the back half, those leads can still carry it. When you watch the back half of this show, Finn Jones ain't carrying the back half of this show. He actually kind of disappears.
But I think that it's also first of all, I think that if you really I'm about to start a fight. Go watch the last 6 of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Who carries that narrative? If you say Luke Cage, I will fight you.
No, he might not carry it, but he doesn't completely disappear, and you still care about the character.
They literally put him in a coma. They take him off the board, Kriss.
Yeah, but you still care. Like, well, actually,
I'm also on the record as saying that the back half of Luke Cage is unwatchable.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that Luke Cage came at a time, and it was what we needed at that time. It was the blackety black show that we all wanted. But if you go back and look, it's still the development of Luke Cage, because if I tell you Luke Cage, you don't think the soft-spoken, quiet protector. You think a loud, brash character. And that's not what they gave us, because it's the development of Luke Cage. Because everything around it was so good that we were able to excuse it. Somehow, with everything being around Danny Rand and around Finn Jones being so good, it's become a detriment to Finn Jones. Meanwhile, I don't think, like, if you go back and rewatch the back half of Luke Cage.
Well, so the difference between, I think there's also a difference between the characters, though. So with Luke Cage, you don't have, he's not set, like, that origin story makes sense, because it really is a legit kind of origin story where you have this guy who's trying to stay low. The problem with Iron Fist is you have a guy who comes back to America after 15 years of training in Kung Fu. It has to come with, like, even if he's going to have this, like, I have no problem with the idea of Danny Rand having this internal conflict about who he really is. I think that's fine. I think you had to do that for an Iron Fist show. The problem is just nothing about him says he's been doing that for 15 years.
Well, okay, so all right, so we'll talk about the fighting when we get to the fighting.
But not even just the fighting, just the way he carries himself.
Well, like, you think about it, he hasn't been training to be a person. He's been training to be a weapon. And now he's trying to, the only way he knows to live in this world is as the 10-year-old he left it as.
Okay, but the problem with that is they're very inconsistent with that. Right?
I agree.
So
I agree.
I think
the biggest problem with Danny Rand in this show isn't necessarily Finn Jones. I think the writing was uneven and inconsistent.
I can go.
I think
that
when too, but. If you go into it thinking like this is a guy who is a weapon but is literally a child, I think Finn Jones conveyed that pretty well, like the indecisiveness and like the things that we're not supposed to like about him, we don't like about him. But I think the writing, like you said, I think this was not the strongest written series at all.
I'll give you for example this. I remember so I think, oh man, what episode is it? I think it's either 6 or something like that. So when him and Ward go and they're looking for the daughter, he's going around to different, and he gets into Aston Martin, and I'm like, all right, man, you've been gone for 15 years, you don't have a license, you don't know how to drive. Now, granted, you're a rich white dude, but you don't know how to fucking drive. How are we doing this? Like, you were literally 3 episodes ago walking around New York City with no shoes on, and now you're literally driving an Aston Martin because, fuck it, I know how to do that. I had the fastest donkey cart on Kong. Okay, driving donkeys is not the same as driving cars, motherfucker. What are you talking about? What are we doing here? Like, it's little things like that I'm like they add up. Like, it's one of the things that normally I would just go, that was weird. But then they start adding them. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Why would you be able to? You don't know how to do that. Like, and so it's hard for me to
not being able to do something ever stop the rich white person.
You're right. But then I expect him to crash. I expect him to not know how to crash. No, I mean, I expect him to really, like, when they're pulling out of the garage, him to crash the fucking car. Like, I expect him not to be good at it. You know, like the crashing he did before when Ward was in there, when he hopped in Ward's car, that was on purpose. You know, he was literally trying to get Ward to say that, hey, you're Danny Rand. even then, I'm like, you're still driving pretty fucking good for a guy who's never driven a car before. What the fuck, man? But and like I said, it's those same things. Cause like if you're going to get me to believe that this is the basically almost like the Captain America man at a time deal,
Yeah, exactly.
right? If you're going to get me to believe that, then I need those moments. Like we all love those moments when Chris Evans is like when he had the little notepad and it's like, oh, okay, you're crossing this off. Okay, can't do this and that, and let me write that. Like that's a small.
I like Danny Rand calling Hogarth J Dog. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's moments like that you can then.
That's what I'm telling you. I think the writing was just super inconsistent because there are moments where I'm like, that's what you should be giving me like 90% of the time.
Exactly, and so like when they had those kinds of moments, then okay, yeah, but they were very, like you said, very very inconsistent with how that is, and it makes you, and when you're that inconsistent, it's hard to get into that main character, and if you can't have a main character you can get behind, it becomes a really hard series for a lot of people to get behind, and that's what happened.
I think part of that's also with like no one wanted to get behind him. I do think that was
absolutely. I think for valid reasons, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the story of Danny Rand is white savior.
Yeah, like people like you gotta, and I understand the impulse. I understand the cries out for to change it to an Asian American actor. I get all that. I supported it.
Mm-hmm.
But once they made the decision, like I didn't know. I don't know.
Well, you know what I was hoping for, and this is going more into kind of think this is this covers a lot of the issues with the show for I think a lot of people. I think what I was hoping for more with what they did with Danny, and again, if you're not going to change the character's race and you're going to have this white savior moment, I was hoping for something more along the lines of what they did with Doctor Strange, where you still get this guy who has some kind of skill, who becomes the hero, but you can get behind his flaws, and the other people around him aren't portrayed as being flawed where he's elevated above them morally or something like that. I think they missed the mark with that with Danny, because one of the things I started noticing was outside of Claire, everyone else around Danny was these people that didn't have pure moral hearts. Danny was the one that was always the good, pure, oh, I'm just so innocent. And when you do that, that falls right into the white savior more heavily than anything else. And you've only made people more mad because it seems like.
And I see what you're saying, but for me, that's the entire point of the 13 episodes, is that he's lying to himself the entire time about who he actually is and why he left Kunlun. He didn't leave because he wanted. He wanted these. That's for me. Like that's why the story works, because even like in episode 2 when he's in the hospital and the guy diagnoses him with anxiety disorder caused by trauma, he actually has that, and he's been lying to like the lie, and he finally admits it to himself like very late in the series. Like when and it ties into people's qualms about the fighting too. I'm like, you have to understand this is a guy who is literally fighting himself on what he wants to be. The more intense a fight gets, the better it looks, because that's when Danny Rand's dialed in, like in canon, in comic books, there's not many people who can touch him. The trick is getting Danny dialed in. Because he's never like, I have to go all out. He had to go out to steal the heart of that fucking dragon.
I love that you're trying to defend the terrible ass fighting.
I'm not defending it. I like the fights.
I love that you're.
I like the fights. I rewatched it this weekend. I still like the fights.
I'm saving that for the end because I have thoughts on that.
You know what? Okay, we'll save it for the end.
Yeah, because those.
Yes, I will disagree with you 100% about these.
But no, and I get that, but still, it's not. Danny lying to himself. It's still. It's almost.
But it's the same thing. No, not fun, because it's the same thing the other 4 Netflix leads have done. The other 3, excuse me. Matt lies to himself constantly.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Jessica Jones is literally a walking drunken lie to herself.
Right. The difference with that though is the other characters around them aren't all morally corrupt. Like that, again, it comes down to an optics thing. Because when you really look at it, You take Claire out the board. They couldn't do it with Claire because if you did it with Claire, people would fucking riot. Right? People would fucking. At this point, she's the connective tissue between all. It would be like, yeah, you couldn't do that with Claire. But take Claire out. Every person of color on this show, though, is morally corrupt.
Every person period is morally corrupt.
Danny's not really. Yeah, him fighting himself.
Yes, he is.
Him fighting himself is not to the same level. Literally, Colleen is literally working for the hand.
Okay,
like she is literally a bad guy.
Colleen and Danny are the same. Like their journey is the same. Realizing what they were taught to believe was not necessarily true.
Yeah, I don't get that.
He's been taught. For me, that was the only, like, the main reason why I was okay with them reconciling at the end is because the parallel tracks that they had followed.
Yeah,
She lied to herself about what her group was. He lied to himself about why he left and what his purpose is the Iron Fist.
Yeah, I get. Well, did he really lie to himself about that though?
Yes. He said, "I just wanted to see my friends." He wanted to kill who killed his father. That's the entire reason he lied.
Okay, but here's the thing. I don't think anybody would call that a morally corrupt choice. Like, I'm going to kill the people who killed my dad and find them out. By the
tenets he espouses, that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, but you're okay. I'll give you that for that. But as an audience member looking at that, no audience member looked at that. Most audience members did not look at that and go, "Oh no, Danny's completely 100% in the wrong here." No, you're like, "Oh no, like you wanted to kill your dad."
His goal was his only purpose after becoming the Iron Fist is to defend the celestial city of Kunlun against, in this canon, the Hand. Yeah, he said, right. "Nah, fuck that. Someone killed my dad."
And I think everybody can get behind that. I think most people can get behind that. But when you compare it to other people, like, I mean, like, I said,
the other fuck ups are more relatable in the other series.
Huh?
It's hard to relate to. I didn't want to defend the gates of a golden city.
Well, not just that, but it's like his end goal is like, he wanted to find the people who murdered his parents. Like, who among us wouldn't want to do that? If we all of a sudden became the Iron Fist or had this power, who among us wouldn't want to go and find out who the fuck killed our parents? Like, we all would want to do that.
Okay, but like, even admitting that, you're undercutting the idea that, like, he's morally superior, because we as the audience know that he's not, because he's like us, because we want the same thing.
Compared to, say, Colleen, yeah. Compared to Davos, yeah. Compared to, like, literally everybody. Like, there was a scene when the Meachums are in the boardroom, and they make, like, Danny's the one that makes us better about ourselves because it's like they put Danny up as this, literally as the savior of moral righteousness. And yeah, his biggest thing is, well, I left my post to go because I wanted to avenge my parents' death. Even that itself is something that we can get behind. Like, I can get behind that. I can't get behind wait, so you know of everything the Hand does, and you're telling me that no, like, she's literally pulling the Hitler. Well, no, I mean, no, there were several groups of Nazis who weren't really Nazis. It's like, I'm looking at Colleen going, bitch, are you serious right now? Like, the Hand, like, we've seen the Hand and what they've done. You're telling me, like, no, those are alternative facts. Like, are you fucking seriously? No, we're not those Nazis. We're the good Nazis. Okay. Do you want? Keep telling yourself that, okay?
That's funny.
Davos, like, and here's what I think they could have done a better job. And again, I think maybe it comes down to the writing. With Davos, like, I'm getting Davos' right shirts because, like, Danny is a terrible Iron Fist, and you're right. He abandoned his post and stuff like that. But the problem is they make, in order to still promote Danny above Davos, they do this thing where Davos is completely doesn't care about other people's lives. right? And it's just
Did
like,
you read? Did we read for Character Corner together?
no, I know,
That is Davos.
I get that. The problem is when you do this show and the optics of it, it's not done well. Like if you're gonna do that, that's fine. But then again, you've made it so that literally every person, there's no good person of color on the show outside of Claire. Oh, and the I forget her name, but I'll find it. The assistant in Rand is yeah, she was.
But doesn't it count that? Okay, so I see what you're saying. I guess I see what you're saying, and I hadn't really thought about it that way. Does it count that Colleen redeemed herself? I think their parallel journeys kind of, it's one of the things that I think is at the heart of the series. Like I'm not even trying to be argumentative.
No. This is great. This is great. I thought we would be way worse than this. No. So
me too.
This is actually great. And I think this is like the first time we've ever really truly disagreed on something like this. So this is perfect. This is like me and Phenom. So the thing with Colleen, and full disclosure here, I didn't like what they did with Colleen to begin with. So maybe you're right on this case, and maybe I'm being colored by the fact that when I found out that she was hand, I was fucking livid. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. She eventually takes over a branch of the hand in the comic.
Okay, we did that one again. We did the character corner on this one. It's different though, right? That's a hand. That was very different. Backwards.
It caught me off guard, but I liked that they gave her a twist. It made her more interesting to me. I see what you're saying as far as it made the character a quote unquote bad character. It did give it more interest than just random dojo master who happens to be around Danny a lot.
No, you're right. And again, maybe this comes back to the writing. If that's the case, the first half of the show makes no fucking sense. Because if you are a student of the Master of the Hand, why is your dojo failing financially?
Because she's just a front to get them to the hand. And she calls Bikatsu, I think, in episode 3.
But
fairly early.
Why is your dojo fail? I get that it's a front for the hand, but it can't. You can't be struggling to pay your rent. It doesn't make any sense.
That's what she told Danny.
Huh?
We don't know what's really going on. That's what she told Danny.
No, she was telling the students that.
Yeah.
The students.
Why would you tell how many teachers tell the students the truth?
Well, the students know because they go and work for the hand. They eventually go and.
But that's the scholarship program, remember?
Yeah.
That's where they graduate to.
I guess. Like
you don't like this show.
The first half of that. The first half. Hey, listen, no, because we're gonna get to things I do like later on, and maybe it's just my villain agenda, but I fucking love the Meachums.
The Meachums are so enthralling. I was like, I'd watch a show called The Meachums.
Look, I'm not gonna lie.
They're all dirtbags.
Look, man. This is where the back half of the show becomes the strongest for me because I literally forgot Danny was on the show. Because I was watching the Ward Harold and Joy Meachum show, and that shit was like I'm not gonna lie, like you said, this show instantly, when they killed Harold, and they kill him what? Oh, when did they kill? They kill him I think they killed him in episode 6, right? Let me see. I haven't.
Maybe 7. Because I think it had to be after the break, right?
Yeah. So let me see. Yeah, he's killed in 7. So when he's killed in 7, I was like, oh man, that kind of fucking sucks because I actually kind of liked what they were doing with Harold, and I don't know what I liked about Harold is I never knew if I wanted to hate him, if he was good, if he was bad. I was like, wait, maybe he is not so bad because the hand got him literally.
That was the thing. They keep making us think these characters aren't that bad. Like with Joy, they're like maybe Joy,
yeah,
maybe.
And then Ward turned out to be the good one. Ward.
No. Ward should have been good one because the series ended. I guarantee if you got 3 more episodes, Ward would turn back into a dick too.
What they did with those characters, like you said, because it was constantly juggling between who the bad Meachum was. And
they all are.
And you end with they kind of all are, but Ward, if you had me as who was the least bad and it ended up being Ward, that would not have been me. I would not have guessed that because Ward was holy shit. He starts off as a dick. Then when they do the flashback,
they set it up so well though, with his dad constantly demeaning him, and then his dad being like, "I should have given it to you,
right?"
Daughter.
Right. When they did the flashbacks early in the first 2 episodes, and they were talking about how Ward used to pick on him and stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, yeah, Ward is definitely the bad guy here. And
They
then
wrote bad guys really well for this show.
oh my god, did they? The bad guys are done.
Madam Gal fucking with you from behind a locked door.
Oh yeah. Listen. Like I said, I went in on some of the things I don't like, and a lot of things I don't like revolve. I'm not gonna lie, just revolve around Finn Jones and Danny Rand. But everything else, I'm not gonna lie, you take him like if you literally like block him out of some of the things. I actually like the show. Like there's certain Madame Gal was fucking amazing. Like she I love that when they drugged her. What was it? Episode 9, I think they drugged her, and she basically hit him with the. Did you really think that bullshit would work on me?
Yeah, the truth serum.
Yeah, she was like, "Yo, listen, I learned how to deal with this shit like hundreds of years ago. Are you guys fucking serious?" Like, and the thing I love about that scene was it was episode 9. I love the names of these episodes. The Mistress of All Agonies. They drug her, and I'm sitting there going, "This is some bullshit. Madame Gal would never submit to like." Fucking truth serum? Are you fucking kidding me? And then when she kind of goes up and she's like, "Do you really think this bullshit would work on me? Come on, guys." And I was like, thank God, because I was like, if you guys have her spilling the beans off of some truth serum stuff, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed. And they didn't. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. Not gonna lie,
See,
like that.
In episode 9, it showed me something that I wish I'd seen a lot more throughout the series. Was someone else knowing more about the Iron Fist than him?
Right, and I think that helps.
It helped so much. I was like, God, if you'd done this like 3 episodes sooner, I'd have been so much happier, you son of a bitch. I was like, why are we just having one person? Like, I want Gal to know shit about the Iron Fist. And she always like hinted that she did, but Makati was the first one who like, you can heal her. And Danny's like, what are you talking about? Because he left before he could finish the training. They missed so many opportunities to tell that story more clearly.
Well,
there's a good story with Danny Rand in this series, and they just kept stumbling with it.
Right. Well, you go with the beginning of the season is basically him just trying to get his name back. Which again, I guess you kind of have to do.
You have to. Like you can't just show.
Right. You
like,
have to do it, but I wish they had kind of tied it more into like again. And I will say this: I do think Finn Jones, one of the few praises I will give of him, does get stronger as the series goes on, and I think just because he kind of got into the roles as he went on. But the beginning of this season for me, is more than just being unsure at Danny. Like I expect Danny Rand, who didn't finish all his training for Iron Fist, to be unsure. I get that, but I only have the other shows to compare to, and I think the best comparison is Daredevil. You had Matt Murdock didn't fully complete his training either, so you had him on a lot of times of being unsure and stuff like that. It's just that Charlie Cox felt like he was confident enough in the role to do that. I didn't get confidence from Finn Jones in the role he's playing. So it's like the
biggest difference between the beginning of all of these series and the beginning of Iron Fist, and it's something I didn't realize until I was reading an interview about Mark Ruffalo's portrayal of the Hulk in Avengers. All 3 of those are proactive moments.
Right.
Even before Daredevil becomes Daredevil, he's out in the black. You open with him fighting someone actively. You open with Luke Cage suspecting the threats around him deciding to be proactive about it. Jessica Jones is literally a private detective giving assignments. Danny's not proactive early. He's reactive, and it asks the audience to hold on. And while I think that was part of the pacing, like them trying to address that, I think they may have gone too slow in the early goings.
Yeah. Like, I mean, let's go with episode 2. Like, and I think we've talked about this before about, all the shows end up taking their characters off the board, in an episode. Yeah. The other show,
someone gets hurt,
right?
Or they end up getting taken care by Claire, or actually, it's always getting taken by Claire.
Yeah, it's always taken. And I'll get into Claire in a little bit, but I think this is one of the I like what they really did with her this series.
I like they expanded her a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I get taking them off the board early to get it out of the way now, so to do it later. It's just one of those things that it was a hard sell, and maybe it goes back to what you were saying, expectations of what you were getting with this Danny. At some point, yes, he's not finished his training. Get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But you fought a fucking dragon, dude. You fought a fucking dragon.
Which they never showed. If you're gonna, I'm sorry, this is a very cheap thing to be mad about.
Show the fucking
Show me the dragon, you son of a bitch.
Listen, if I can get dragons on Game of Thrones, I should be able to get fucking dragons on
Look,
fucking Iron Fist.
You dug a giant hole. Guess what? We're getting the Beast in Defenders. Spoilers, guys, for those people who don't know how to read comics. We're probably getting the Beast in Defenders. You built a giant hole in Daredevil season 2. You could have given me a 5 seconds of Dragon.
Something.
A wing. Go get a wing. Don't just have him walk in the dark and then walk back out. What is this, the High School Musical production of Iron Fist?
So you fought a fucking dragon.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Back to your other point about episode 2, which for my money is one of my favorite episodes of the season.
Oh my god, dude, I can't believe this. Like,
I know you hate me. It's the worst. I know.
We're gonna feel so much better when we do the character corner next week. No, you know what? We got Agent of Shield coming up on Wednesday, so we'll be back to normal, guys. We'll be back on page.
Okay, can I tell you why I liked I like 2?
Yeah.
Because we get full on like Meachum insanity.
Valid.
We also get the absurdity of him saying, like, because we get the confirmation that Danny Rand knows nothing of subterfuge. He's like, who are you? Where have you been for 10 years? And he explains about Kunlun and the dragon, and he's like, okay, you're crazy. Like, I like that would be the reaction. You're a crazy person. And I love that they, for 2 episodes, were kind of like, this is slow, and it closes with him using the Iron Fist to break out.
Yeah, I just... my problem with that was you couldn't lead with that.
you would have done so you probably would have compressed episodes 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, like because this is like because here's the problem. It's like because or here's the thing. If you're going to take them off the board, you got to do something better than that. Like you know what it made you know what it made better for sense to me if you know how and it was done really badly. You know in episode 1 he jumps over the car.
Yeah,
it was done. That was terrible. The car hits him, and the reason why he's hurt now. And so you physically have a reason why, and then when he's trying to get better, he goes, oh well, he tells a story about, oh no, I'm the Iron Fist and the magical like, and then they're like, oh well, you're fucking crazy. We're taking you to the crazy wing too. Now you have a physical reason why he can't break out. Because literally telling me, well, they force feed him drugs. He's a fucking Iron Fist. Even if he doesn't have the Iron Fist, motherfucker, if you don't punch this fat fucker in the face and get the fuck out of here, why the fuck are they allowing? That made no sense to me. Like I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that Danny Rand is trapped in a mental hospital.
I see what you're saying. Counterpoint. He's a weapon who doesn't want to be a weapon. He doesn't want like that. And we'll get. Do you want to do the fights now?
Well, no. Wait, because you're gonna get to it. Like he doesn't want to be a weapon. I get that, but you don't have to
want to fight. Like could he have fought his way out at pretty much any time? Yeah, but he probably would have killed those orderlies. You understand, like turning up for the iron, like there's a reason I like people are like, "What's your favorite fight?" Like the Davos fight because he goes immediately to 10 and is like, "I can't fuck around. I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna break your leg."
But that's the thing, like he's not fighting that. You're fighting out of shape orderlies. You don't need you at this. Here's the thing, you don't even need like this isn't even about him being on the Iron Fist and needing the Iron Fist to get out of this fucking hospital, motherfucker. You've been training for martial arts for 15 fucking years, motherfucker. Listen here, man. Come on, I can get out of this shit. Like, what are you doing, dude?
He's gonna come to Kriss saying he can get out of this shit.
Come on, dude. Like, come on. Like you know kung fu.
I'm gonna drug you and have you committed under someone else's name and see what happens.
You've been training for 15 fucking years.
I want you to fight. You made the claim on the show. This is now content, Kriss.
Come on, man. Well, because at the end of the day, he ends up doing that anyway. He ends up fighting his way out. I'm like, why do you lead with this? Like, but if he's hit by the car, first of all, you don't have that terrible ass hopping over the car thing.
Like I was like, because you know what? He didn't move that poorly the rest of the series. You and I will feel differently about the fights, asshole.
No, you're right. That like there are other.
That was like X-Men level wire work.
Yeah, no, that was terrible. That was probably the worst wire work on the show. And it was like yeah. So, but if he's like not paying attention and he ends up getting hit by the car again, he's then hurt. You take him off the board. And then you can go through. I
agree with you there. That's something that could have been done. You could have cut off the back half of episode 1 and sliced the two together. I think there's a lot of editing issues.
Yeah, but even then, I'm even fine with keeping episode 2 as long as it is. But you at least give me a physical reason why he couldn't just. Why can't you just punch your way out? Like forget the Iron Fist, just fight your way out. Because motherfucker, You know kung fu. You're fucking Keanu Reeves in the fucking Matrix. Like, this is lightweight for you, dude. Like, you gotta
fucking bitch. That's good.
come on, man. It's just like you gotta do that shit, man. You start looking away and start, you hit that shit. But like, if he's got his leg broken, and then what you can do is you can have his leg broken or something like that, and then you can have him. Well, actually, no, you can't do that because he doesn't know enough to heal himself. So no, okay. So anyway, all right. You want to do these fights?
You hate them. Talk about it first.
Okay, so I will say, the fights do get better. The fights do get better, but not because of Finn Jones. They fights get better because they actually have people that can fight later on in the series, and so they fights look better. But he's terrible, man. He is terrible. Finn Jones is the most unathletic white dude they could ever fight. That might be the most insulting thing they did. You didn't get an Asian American for Iron Fist. Fine, all right. I don't agree with that, but you went that way. But then you went out and got the most unathletic white dude you could ever fucking find. He has no abs. He has no muscle definition. He's stiff every time he does a fight. He looks like what you always think of when you see white dudes who don't know how to do kung fu trying to do kung fu. They're terrible, dude. I'm sorry. Your point.
I'll let you finish, man. I'll let you breathe. Let it breathe. Okay, so like, I don't. When you say Danny Rand, I mean, I don't think it's some like even the kind of I don't think some cut up dude. Like it's never been Danny Rand.
No, but he has.
I don't know.
But he's still. Come on, dude.
I'll let you go.
Come on, dude.
I'll let you go. I'll let you
all
go.
All right. You're right.
I thought, like you said, the fights do get better because I think that I think a lot of what they're asking to do from Finn, like it was his attempts at communicating restraint early came almost off as disinterest. Because if you go back to episode 6 when he's fighting in that hand tournament and he fights the twins, I like that like he's kind of losing a little bit and he takes 2 hits and then they actually cut him and then he breaks one of their legs immediately. Mm-hmm. Like I like that there was a differentiation between Danny like feeling his way out and Danny locked in. I think maybe for you the differentiation was too great, which it's fine. It worked for me. I really liked like him getting frustrated in the penthouse in episode, I think it was 13, and just deciding to use the Iron Fist in the way we've always wanted him to use the Iron Fist the entire goddamn series. Mm-hmm. But I think that spoke to like, oh, this all could have been a lot faster if Danny just decided to be an asshole.
Well, so because I've seen I get the idea of the hero, the kung fu hero, not starting at 10. We've all seen that, and that's fine. So I get that. I get that people are going to get hits on him. That he's got to be locked in to really truly achieve that greatness, even before he uses the Iron Fist. I get that. To me, it was just like I can tell when somebody does. It was like watching. God, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm really pissed about the fight last night. But it's like watching Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Johnson, right? Like I don't know what the fuck Anthony Johnson was thinking, but like, dude, his striking is so much better than Daniel Cormier, right? Because Daniel Cormier cannot fucking strike. I don't care what nobody fucking says.
Did you try to wrestle him?
Oh, dude, and then got choked out in the second round.
So Rumble wrestled in high school and in Georgia with us.
Yes, I understand he wrestled.
He beat one of my boys for third in state our junior year, I think.
He is not to the level of Daniel Cormier in wrestling.
I just told you he finished third in state his senior year.
Yeah, but he can strike. Cormier is but he can strike. But anyway, Daniel Cormier can't strike for shit. All right, his striking is terrible. And you can tell that. And every time I watch a fighter who has a wrestling background or who has a jiu-jitsu background try to strike, I can tell because they're not comfortable with it. And that's what I see in Finn Jones when he's doing these fights. He is just not comfortable in those scenes. And so, yeah, I get that as the fights go on, he should become better because that's just that's a standard trope for all like kung fu fights. That's just kung fu movies 101. Like, I get that. The problem is that he is just not. He seems like somebody who's trying to emulate moves that they saw on YouTube versus he actually trained them. And then we know for a fact that that's what happened. That they were like, and this goes back to, I think, another problem that this show has, and it could go to the inconsistency in writing. I feel like this show was very rushed compared to some of the other shows. And when you look at the schedule, what they're doing, it makes sense. Like, Defenders comes out in August. They're doing, I didn't know the Punisher comes out this year too. Which, I mean, they're doing 3 shows.
That's the first time they're breaking their 2-a-year thing, isn't it?
Right. And so it feels like to me, and then when you hear that Finn Jones was actually learning some of the choreography for these fights 15 minutes before doing them, I'm looking at it like, oh, I can tell. Because you were not comfortable with these moves. Compare that to something like...
I don't think that's on him. That's on, like, the production.
Oh, no, you're right. And you're right. Like, I think that, like... maybe I'm wrong in putting this on, make it seem like it's all on Finn Jones. This is all part of just them making the show and not giving him, I feel like I have some problems with Finn Jones. I also do feel like the production set him up for failure in a lot of these things. And
you know what I kind of wish had happened?
Go ahead.
And I get that, like, there's money on the tree, so you shake the fucking tree. I get that. I'm not stupid. But I wish they'd have booked Iron Fist and then Punisher to come out and then Defenders to open up 2018.
Yeah.
I think they could have given, because I don't think there's a whole lot of production overlap with Punisher.
No, it shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be that much cast and crew that's really overlapping. So I think if you'd taken the time, but because I guess, we're just 2 guys on a podcast. There's obviously these actors have other jobs, other commitments. They've got to make sure all the schedules work. And I understand all of that. I'm not stupid. But I think that if you'd have given this production a little bit more room to breathe and not had Defenders, I would love to hear like an oral history of Iron Fist Defenders and see how many double shoot days there were.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested. I'm actually probably one of the few people who didn't necessarily really love Iron Fist, who's really interested in seeing what Finn Jones does in Defenders, because I'm interested in seeing if he's better. If right. Because I'm wondering if maybe, and again, I think that people that have problems with him being cast and the whitewashing, he's never going to be able to get over that, and that's just something he's going to, like, Finn, you're just going to fucking deal with it. Like, get over that shit, stop trying to defend it. You got to eat that shit. That's just something that you're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. Fuck it. But I'm wondering if maybe they can do what they did with Chris Evans and Captain America with Finn Jones, where, hey, in First Avenger, he didn't do a lot of hand-to-hand fighting stuff. He threw the shield, he did some things here and there, but he wasn't doing things like you see, like complex moves like you see him doing in like Winter Soldier or Civil War or anything like that.
That whole opening sequence of Winter Soldier.
Right. Like they weren't doing that. But as he grew into the role, and not only as he grew in the role, but also as he grew into being as a character, grew in as Captain America, he learned new skills and they increased that. I'd be interested in seeing if they can do that with Finn Jones here, because that's what got me with the fights. Like and when you put him up against somebody who you knew had training, it was embarrassing to me. Like episode 8, The Blessing of Many Fractures with Louis Tan in that episode when Louis Tan plays who did he play?
Zhao Chen?
Yeah. Dude, that fight is just like Danny only won that fight because it said to do that in the script. like that's what, because like, but even the way, and you could tell this because even the way they shot that fight suddenly changed. The camera changes, the shots they get changed because he can fight, because Louis can fight. The angles that they got on that fight were so much different than any other fight we got, because you can get those camera angles because, okay, yeah, he's comfortable in his stance. He can do these moves, and we don't have to bring in a double and get certain shots or do some quick editing cuts to get the shots we want, because we can just do one long shot of this, So, yeah, that's my problem with Danny and his fights. But I hear your point about.
I think you're right. I think he'll be better in Defenders. I'm really curious to see how they play him and Mike Coulter together. Because let's be real, like Luke Cage in the comic books is a loud, abrasive asshole. Mm-hmm. That's why he and Danny work so well together, because Danny's a quiet one. Mm-hmm. But sneaky Danny's the scary one. Right. Like that's why their relationship. That's why Heroes for Hire is so entertaining. Mike Coulter played Luke Cage very quiet.
Right.
and I'm interested to see how they're gonna.
Can't have too quiet. Yeah.
Because what I would really love for this to happen is out of this for Heroes to Hire to get announced.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of way. That's a long way to go for Luke Cage in 8 episodes and an ensemble series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be. Well, I do know they're doing Luke Cage season 2, so maybe we get that in season 2 of Luke Cage, and then we get the Heroes for Hire.
I'm nervous about that.
So what? Season 2 of Luke Cage?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, you didn't like Luke Cage as much as I did, so.
The thing is, I love Luke Cage. I can't watch like the back half with Diamondback. I'm like, no.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think that I think going back to the things that work with this show, I think that the way they fix you fix the back half of the shows for these other for Luke Cage by not killing Cottonmouth, you know,
exactly,
or bringing him back, and that's what they did. And that's what they did with Luke. That's what they did with Iron Fist. You bring back Harold Meachum. As soon as they bring him back, and I'm like when Ward stabs Harold, I'm like, Harold ain't dead. He got to come back because you can't kill this guy now. Like I'm liking this guy.
Ward finds out that when you get revived by the hand, you become more psychopathic each time you get revived.
Yeah, and like I said, that's when to me this stuff starts picking up. Like that, the back half with like when you have Ward with the drugs. Like it's just like everything like around the Meachums just really
ratchets up really hard.
It ratchets up really hard, and you get it, and then you see that, hey, Ward is trying to protect his sister Joy from their dad Harold. He's literally trying to. He's literally worked himself to death, put himself into a drug, getting a drug habit, just to please his dad and keep his dad away from his sister. You know, and then you start going, wow, man, this is actually kind of a tragic character. Like the moment that got me, I think, was episode 7, when Ward had been checking his bank account and was going to leave, and it was in the car, had gotten us together, and was literally going to leave the country with the money he had siphoned off, and then he goes check his account and realizes that his dad took the money back from him, and that's when he goes and kills him, and he's just like, and like that's when I was like, oh, there's way more to this character than what we've been seeing than just being this. And I think that's what, like I said, I loved how each of those the actors who played the Meachums played off each other and getting those scenes and how that worked. Like that was great, you know, and I think that's what drew me in towards that back half of that season. And I think that for going forward, these shows need to do that and make sure you when you have somebody who's killing it like that. Like I think what happened with Luke Cage, I don't think they were expecting. I don't know why, but they weren't expecting Cottonmouth Mahershala to kill like he did, and it becomes like it becomes really hard to.
I honestly think he had other commitments.
And that might have been it. Yeah. I mean, so it becomes really hard.
Look at the year he had afterwards. I'm like, oh, he had to go film something because they shoehorned in Diamondback as Luke Cage's brother. And like we talked about in the review, I was like, as I'm talking about it out loud, the story becomes much more flimsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So I was gonna say something.
Something else I really liked, and I hope they stick with this. And I know you and I don't know if we feel differently about this when we read the comics. Danny's dad not being a Kunlun before, I liked.
Oh no, I think that's fine too. Yeah,
I like that a lot. I was like, God, thank you, because I know we all have the it's a trope because it's done so often. I always thought that one of the aspects of Iron Fist legacy that got weaker was when they tied his family back into it.
Yeah, when we did that with the I thought that was because it got confusing. I'm not gonna lie, I got confused.
Well, it gets confusing, and plus it becomes: did he earn it or was he destined to have it?
Right. So,
which is a line that I was unappreciative that they kind of towed on this one, because at a certain time Davos said he was chosen, but other times Davos said he got beat out. So I'm thinking maybe that was like a brother reacting to losing.
Well, that was another thing that goes with the inconsistency of writing. I had that written down that, like, again, if you don't want to be a white savior, then saying that Danny earned it by beating everybody else, that's good.
It's better than saying Danny was foretold.
Yeah, like when you start having him literally, foretold to be, I'm like, wait a minute, no, that is the definition of, like, this goes back to Finn Jones and just needing to shut the fuck up. some of these white actors don't know what some of these things mean. So they don't know what white savior means. They don't know, like Scarlett Johansson apparently doesn't know what whitewashing means, because what they did in Ghost in the Shell is definitely whitewashing.
It's the literal definition of whitewashing.
Yeah, and Finn Jones thought that, well, Danny gets beat up a lot of times, so he's not a white savior. It's like, no, that is not what white
not
savior.
What it means,
that's not what it means.
Not what it means, Finn.
That's not what that means. And then
the creators talking did no one any favors.
Right. Oh yeah, no, that did not help at all either. So yeah, you
notice that I started chatting about my defense of the show, because I think I have good points, but at the same time, I don't have to save you.
Yeah, no, you can't. You gotta shut the fuck up on that one, dog. You can't.
Yeah, man.
You just let that one go, man. It's all good. Like, you know what? What was killing me was the reviews were bad, but the general fan reaction was either decent or mediocre, which it wasn't like totally bad. And then this motherfucker comes out talking about some Orientals. And I'm like, oh, you asshole! You were doing so well.
Roy Thomas, man.
Yeah, it was doing so well, and then you went and said something stupid. So
I wanted to pull Roy Thomas, and they're like, you fucked up, right?
Yeah. And like you said, I think that we went back to the fights. I think the editing is really bad. There's that one scene, I think I can't remember what episode it is, but it was apparently 30 seconds of fight and like 56 cuts or something like that. Like it is terrible how they cut that scene of him fighting somebody, and it might have been like episode 3 or something like that. And that made it worse was he wasn't fighting anybody like good, so he shouldn't have even taken that many cuts to film that scene. But it was like 56 cuts for like 30 seconds. It's like, no, you can't do that. Like, that's stupid. Like, what are you doing here?
I think the editing of the fights got better as the series went on.
Oh, absolutely.
I think this is also the crew I think the crew may have gotten better. Sure. I don't know anything behind the scenes, but I think either they got more comfortable with each other, or they just kind of got locked in, because like the Bukatu Colleen fight's great. It's really well shot. It's really clearly shot.
Well, they can both fight too.
What's up? Huh?
They can also both fight, so there's that.
Will you stop? We're talking about editing.
I'm just saying, it's easier to edit things when people have the skill set to do the scenes you're trying to shoot. So I'm just throwing it out there. Anyway, sorry.
Yo, we were going to go back to my favorite moment of the Davos Rand fight. I don't know. No, did you not like that fight?
No, I thought it was decent. I like the Colleen fight.
I thought it was the moment we saw Iron Fist.
Yeah, I can go with that. I think that might have been his best. I think it might have been one of his best moments in the show, if not the best.
Because he knew that he couldn't half-ass with Davos.
Right.
And when they fight all the Hansons, I really like that fight too.
Which ones?
When him and Davos versus the entire Hand Academy.
Oh yeah.
I really like that fight.
Yeah. Well, I like
that. Was it him or Davos that snaps that dude's leg to start it?
Oh, I can't remember, but it might have been Davos.
I was like, thank you very much. Let's go.
Yeah. That also goes to my other thing. So what do you think about the episode 13? Because I felt like, what happened to me, I felt like episode 13, they shot episode 13 because they realized that the show was over at 12. And they're like, fuck, we just had Colleen fight our boss fight, and we need to have Danny do something. So let's throw in episode 13 real quick. Because 13 felt out of place for me. Like, it did.
Because 13 worked for me because 12 reconciled the Hand storyline, but you had to reconcile the Meachum one.
No, you did, but like the way they did it, it's like, wait, so now, like, the way they did it just didn't make any sense to me.
I thought that I would have liked the wards brought into 11 or 12 more.
Mm-hmm.
And had them interact. Like, I would have liked to see, because Danny immediately believing Ward, I was like, wait a second.
Well,
that seems convenient as shit.
Like, the problem I had is just like, I liked what they were doing with Harold. I like what they were doing with the Meachum in those episodes, stuff like that. But then you get Harold all of a sudden back and alive, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's not gonna work. Like, he's been spending 15 years hiding. Now all of a sudden he's back in charge of the company. What?
Well, I like that because it highlighted just how fucking crazy the Hand can make you.
Well,
Because
yeah.
every time you come back, you come out crazy.
Well, no. No. Don't get me wrong. I liked him being crazy. Like that was spot on and great. I'm talking about everybody else. I'm like, wait a minute. Harold's alive. He was dead for 15 years, guys.
Yeah, no one seems to.
No, we're
really
not.
Be...
Like, and that's why I probably again it goes back to the writing. It's like if you're gonna like the overall theme of what that episode is supposed to be, I get, but functionally it doesn't work for me because it's like Harold's supposed to be dead, guys.
Well, you got to think about it this way. It's also like 4 episodes of it because the entire time we're like, wait, you can't just come back, can you?
Well, but he was kind of hiding before then. But by the time
he outs himself. When's he out? Hold on, I'm trying to find it now.
I know he kills what's his name in I think 11.
Oh, you're right because he can only come out after they kill Bukatu.
Right. So
you're right.
And they kill him.
You're right. That's really sloppy.
Yeah. So he show and I'm like, wait a minute. No, this doesn't work. And then they go and they frame Danny. I'm like, wait a minute. You're trying to throw way too much shit.
A lot happened very quickly.
In 13, and I'm like, it comes to it, and I'm like, but if I'm Danny, all I go and go, hey, who are you gonna believe? Me? Or the guy who's been hiding his death for 15 fucking years?
But that goes back to him finding out that Harold is the reason that his parents died.
No, I get it. Like, no, I totally understand.
Well, it's fuck the cops.
Well, no. I have no problem with Danny going after Harold because, like, no, seriously, he like that motivation. I totally get. I'm just saying, if the cops are coming after him, though, I'm going. But wait, why are you coming after me? Like that dude is supposed to be dead. Now I'm gonna go kill him because that's what you guys should be doing. But because, and I mean, like, and then even think about it in the end, he doesn't even kill him. Although I do kind of because I'm at that point I'm convinced that Ward Meachum is actually the hero of the show. I'm fine with Ward killing Harold.
Yeah, Ward and Colleen have the most redemptive arcs of the show. No, and I think Ward's is redemptive just because it ended there. I honestly do think in 3 episodes he would betray Danny.
Oh, I think eventually he has to, right? You know,
his sister.
Oh, yeah, because he still. I mean, his sister. I think he still puts everything above his. He puts a sister above everything else anyway. So.
I think the biggest problem with this entire series is it feels like Defenders prequelitis.
Like they just had to get
everything feels like it's building for Defenders.
Yeah.
Them having an Iron Fist of their own in Davos. Like I know we're getting the big war with the hand. We're gonna get that. I get that. We're gonna reconcile what happened in Daredevil season 2 with the Hole. We're gonna have to deal with Elektra probably. But it felt like this one, whereas even season 2 had like the independent arcs being tied up. Mm-hmm. Nothing with Danny's got reconciled.
Yeah.
The whole thing feels like and next week true believers, like it feels like the first half of something. And I think that's my biggest issue with it. I still honestly, if I'm ranking my Netflix shows, it goes Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones, then this. And then I can have the argument about Jessica Jones and this, honestly. I really enjoyed the pacing. The fighting I don't know if I'd built a narrative in my own head that made it all okay for me, but I enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed the judicious use of the Iron Fist.
No, I think he didn't. Yeah, I think we both agreed on that one. Yeah.
Like some people wanted, why are you using the fist? Like, because you're an asshole. That's why.
Yeah, no, we talked about this before. Like, you can't always use a fist. And I even like the idea of him at the point not knowing, because they did that in the Mac Fraction run, the Immortal Iron Fist run, that he didn't know. Like, so I'm completely on board with that. Like, that was not. I was not. To be perfectly honest, I wasn't expecting him to use the Iron Fist as much as he did. I mean, he was using at least once every episode. Yeah, he was using at least once or twice every episode.
Yeah, when he stopped that bullet with the fist in episode 13.
Yeah, and he had already used it maybe 5 minutes before. So I was like, okay, I'll go with it, you know. So
I really like that, but I just feel like this whole series, while there are a lot of things that I enjoyed about it, and I think the pacing, for me narratively, the pacing being set the way it was helped me watch it, helped me with this rewatchability.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do agree. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I do agree with the pacing was a lot better than some of the other shows.
I think that the biggest problem here is that there's no single groundedness for the character. He's kind of afloat. Like, I want my name back. You got your name back in episode 4. I want my company back. Got that back in episode 4 too. Well, now shit. Like it felt like it kind of ran out of steam on his narrative focus until you get the revelation that he's actually here to avenge his parents. Mm-hmm. And I would have had him address that more plainly, like with Jessica Jones, because she wears her emotions on her sleeve. You always know what she's actually thinking. I think that them trying to portray the Buddhist training as calm, at the same time trying to convey inner turmoil was done through hard cuts and like shaky cam, which is not the best way to do that.
Right.
So I think that, well, again, like the pacing, and I know that you and I, like, we both agree on the pacing. The rewatchability of something is directly related to the pacing.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil season 2, you can watch it in 3 parts. It's hard to watch the whole thing in a sitting. And for this, the watchability was up for me. I agree with you on some of the things that I think the writing was super uneven. I would love to know what the writing room and the Defenders writing rooms look like, because I bet they were running at about the same time.
All right.
Like as you've talked about the scheduling, as we've talked about this, it's made me question a lot of things, a lot of the decisions that I think, and I think 8 episodes should help a lot, and an ensemble cast should help a lot. But I am a little nervous for Defenders now, because I think we did the math, and this was filmed about the same time.
Yeah. We mentioned it earlier. To bring it up now. Claire, love what they did with Claire this show.
Oh God, yes.
Letting her train with Colleen and actually having her do things. So when a fight pops off, hey, she can actually do something. She can actually fight. Like, I enjoyed that, and I just even just her character kind of always, like, Rosario Dawson always having this white boy's crazy look on her face.
Consistent look that she, you know what? No, she's not wrong.
No, not wrong. Like I loved her talks with Davos, and when they were in her apartment, like talking about the pizza and stuff like that. Like I like everything about this. Like I love the way they use her character throughout this show, and like even the first time when Danny shows up and he ordered takeout from a fine restaurant for Colleen to talk, and Claire basically invites herself to the date. It's like, oh no, yeah, we're hungry. You know, her teasing him on the plane. Oh, Danny Rand got himself some. Okay, like no, I really I love how they did that. I also love how they tied it into what happened with her and Luke Cage and in season 2 of Daredevil. I like her one moment telling Danny, it's like, so you telling me I have more experience fighting the hand than you do? And I was like, wait. Yeah,
shit, you do.
She actually has a point there.
I really liked. You're right. Like that was one of the really big joys about this one, was that some of our kind of fringe characters from other series got more of a spotlight. You gotta remember, Madame Gao showed up in season 1 of Daredevil, terrifying everyone, throwing around the steel serpent seal on her heroine.
Right.
And to see her character get fleshed out over those, and then to watch her become like a fully fledged, not just ominous, tropey dragon lady, which if you want to talk about tropes,
right.
To have her like be fleshed out into a full real threat, a realized threat, not just to a Daredevil level or to a drug level, but to like Danny, like she's like, oh, I've been to Kunlun and I knew your parents.
Right.
Right. wait, you've been where now?
Right.
Wait. Like it really, watching Danny get really thrown off, like wait a second.
Well, shit.
Not only believe me, but you've been there too?
I want to say, it was episode 9, The Mistress of All Agony, when she basically calls out, she reads the fuck out of everyone. When she reads the fuck out of Claire, you hope that everything that makes them special, talking about like, you know, Matt and Luke and stuff like that, everything that makes them special rubs off on you. Where do they end up at? If you were going to be special, it would have already happened. Good God.
I was like, yo, is Gal reading off a script because she's just mad? That was mean as shit. Like, if you had never seen Claire again the rest of that series, I'd be like, I understand.
She basically Claire with that, just give it to me. You can tell him I took it from you. Took what? Your heart. Like, she read the fuck out of her, yo. Oh my God. Like, she did that shit. I was like, oh, ow. That was mean.
As sure as I am about Luke and Danny meeting, because I don't know how their characters are really going to play at this point, I'm chomping at the bit for Missy to meet Colleen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Colleen, like Missy's very funny. Colleen's like a dry humor ass.
Well, if everybody's calling for that Daughters of the Dragon show, but I'm like, if you do Daughters of the Dragon, right, you got to make them 3, right? You got to have Claire in there as well, right? It's got to be instead of just being adult 2, it's got to be Claire now, right? You got to have all 3.
I just want to break this out. Colleen Wing whipping 2 dudes' asses to run the jewels.
Yeah,
that's why I like this show.
Yes, we also didn't spend enough time. I did say I didn't like what they did with the Hand, but overall, I love what they did with Colleen's character. And
they put her through some shit. I was, you know what? The more we talk about, the more okay I am with the Hand thing because they put her through some shit.
Well, I think the other problem too, and again, I don't know how you feel on this one, is just I guess it kind of goes back to my overall feeling of them, what they did with like the uneven writing and trying to find a place for Danny Rand in this universe they created. The last time we saw the Hand, they were deadly as fuck. They were the ninjas that didn't have. And I understand that the Hand's more than just the soulless ninjas that could kill everybody and all this stuff. But I felt like that threat wasn't there with this Hand.
Okay, so do you want to hear the long answer or the short answer?
I'll give the long answer. Let's just hear it for the show.
The long answer is that, like Bakuchu explained, there are different sects of the Hand that follow different practices, and
Absolutely.
while some rely on the energies of the beast and the resurrections, some don't. The short answer, we're going to see Danny fight zombie ninjas and defenders.
Okay. All right.
Like we're good. Like, you wanted Danny versus zombie ninjas? They're about to give us waves of. If I don't get waves of ninjas across a rooftop running towards the defenders, I may lose my goddamn mind. Look, you promised me defenders. You give me this, and you tease me with that Danny versus the Hand. I need the Iron Fist to fight zombie ninjas. I don't think I'm asking for much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just one of the things that goes back down to maybe they shouldn't have done, and I don't know how this works.
Maybe you should have called it the Hand. Have it be literally another organization.
Well, that or you don't have Iron Fist after season 2 of Daredevil. Just because, like, we end season 2 of Daredevil, literally, like you said, literally with a rooftop full of Daredevil and Elektra fighting zombie ninjas, right? And so then you get the Hand this time, and yeah, I get it, different sex and everything like that. But you mean to tell me no zombie ninjas?
Oh no,
none.
Nigga, look, I too was hoping for zombie ninjas.
I just.
However,
I mean, I get it. I get everything you're saying is right.
But from their perspective, there's more money in saving that shot for defenders.
No, you're right. You're right. It was just one of those.
I'm with you. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was just like, wait a minute, you can't. Because again, it really hits home.
You showed the zombie ninjas, right?
It really hit me home when Claire said this. Like, so I have more experience fighting the Hand. I'm like, oh my god, she's right. She did fight the zombie ninja Hand, and her friend did die from that. And oh my god, she does have more experience fighting the Hand than Danny Rand does. What the fuck is going on here? Like,
Danny, listen to her.
Right? It's just like, wait, you should be everything Claire said you should be listening to. It's just.
Hey, are you taking notes, Danny? Why are you taking notes?
Right. She's giving you. Did you know that they don't have heartbeats? Like, did you know that you can't? They're very silent. Like everything. Like, cause these ninjas were like, these Hand were like
these
fucking
were kids in yoga pants.
Well, that, but then there was cause when they were back in America, they were like military. They were like special forces. Like it was just very, very weird how they did that. And again, it doesn't help. Like, I get it. Like what we're saying here about saving that shot for the Iron Fist versus zombie ninjas and on a rooftop with Daredevil.
Which is a great sentence, by the way.
Right. Yeah. That is.
By the way, welcome to 2017.
Yeah. Like you gotta say that for defenders. However, optically, you look at it like you're like, huh? You gave Danny a weaker version of the Hand to fight. He was literally fighting kids.
You're right.
Like he fought, like he was struggling against Hand Academy, yo. Like I'm just.
He didn't struggle.
All right,
they whipped them boys. They whipped them children.
All right.
They whipped them children. Right. There was a lot of them children, but they were whipping them boys.
All right, you're right. All right, I'll give you that.
When they popped up, they're like, "Is there going to be a fight?" And they snapped old buddy's leg. I was like, "Yep." Those flashes of brutality were so good for me. I'm sorry.
Let's see. So I had that in there. Like I said, I think some of the other people pointed out this. They did drop the ball of not really handling Ward's drug addiction. They kind of, I mean, they handled it a little bit, but they could have really gone.
Away.
Huh?
They gave it to us for a second, and they're like, "Oh, that's dead now."
Yeah, because at one point he even started. He's even using the Madame Gao's drug at one point. So it's just like a. And again, this might be a way that you bring Ward back into being bad. They never really addressed the drug issue. So maybe there's like you said. I think there's the other problem with this show is that there's a lot of stuff they left on the table. That they don't resolve.
I think part of that's for season 2. I think
Right.
well, I think we have to measure, like I always say here, like what's left on the table and what's obvious seating for season 2.
Exactly.
I think the drug addiction's left on the table because they fucking drop it.
Right. Yeah.
I think like the Davos thing is clearly season 2.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That to me is not dropped. That to me is that's something.
But I've seen people say that like, why do we get more Davos? I'm like, because they're seating. I hate you.
Oh no, that was.
I found myself like angry at words. I'm like, I don't like you very much.
Yeah, no, that the Davos thing I got, and I thought was interesting with him talking to Joy, and then Madame Gao there is like so like that to me is very.
If Joy falls in with the hand now.
Yeah. So. That becomes interesting, and I like what's going on there. Like that was fine. So I again like overall, this is not my favorite episode. I rated it at the bottom of these shows, but
that's fair.
But the thing about that is, I think that's not necessarily bad. Like it's not as bad as
the level of quality that Marvel showed us that I think you and I can agree that this doesn't consistently hit.
Right, but that still doesn't make it to me a bad show.
Right. No. Right.
And there are again, I can watch the back half of this show with the Meachums and what's going on with them and the like Harold got the whitest ice cream ever. Like what the fuck is organic cornflake, dog? And then got mad. When old boy didn't want.
That was such a little wrinkle that made him so much weirder. I loved it.
And then old boy got mad when old boy wanted to just wanted some regular vanilla. Like he's like, nah, man. Who the fuck wants to eat organic cornflakes?
Whoever wrote the Meachum's part did not write the rest of the series.
Yeah, no, didn't. Because it was small things like there were small things like after I can't remember what the name of the assistant was. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting his name. But when he goes and picks up Harold after Harold was walking around Rand after he had come back alive. Remember before that point, episodes before then. Harold was doing all this stuff to keep himself healthy because he didn't realize that he couldn't die, right? So he thought he got a second lease on life. So he was eating healthy, he was training, he was doing all these things to keep himself. Once he gets in that car and realizes he can't die, he's like, he throws out the green protein shake. It's like, we got anything to drink in here, like hard liquor, and the guy's like yeah, over there, some like he all of a sudden becomes like fuck living for tomorrow, man. I'm living for today. Fuck this. What are we gonna do?
I'm here for a long time. Here for a good time. Not here for a long time.
Becky, where's my Coke? Like he's on that shit, yo. It's like, but it was a small wrinkle that's like, oh, they didn't have to go out and force and tell you that, but you got it right. And you were right. I feel like whoever wrote the parts for the Meachums and their complexity there. It just wasn't there consistently for the other characters. Like the way you go from thinking Joey's going to be the good one and Ward is the lost cause, and it flips on his head and you realize that, oh no, like Ward is trying to get out. He's like, hey, give me the settlement. Let's take the money. Let's go.
Ward was out. Ward's like, you just pay us and you go away. Yeah, let's sign that today.
Let's go.
The debate?
Like his conversation with her was like, "Oh, remember when you wanted to be a horse trainer? You can go and do that." She's like, "That's stupid." It's like, no, but it's what you.
He's like, it's fucking stupid.
He's like, but it's what you wanted to do. It wasn't what Daddy wanted us to do. It's what you wanted to do. Like there were some real moments with our Meachums. I was like, yo, that's legit. Like I like them, and that also goes back to what we said when we just started this. By giving people only the first 6 episodes to review, I remember seeing a lot of the early reviews and they were talking about how the Meachums are just stereotypical and they're terrible. And I'm like, yeah, see, the first 6 episodes, you don't get the full complexity of the Meachums because it doesn't really happen until Ward kills Harold. Once Ward kills Harold, all of a sudden then he's free. Yo, like remember there's a scene in there in 8 when he's coming back into the apartment and he has the cleaning materials in his bag, but Danny's there and Danny's trying to tell him that his dad's dead, right? And Harold Harold plays it all so well because Danny's blaming himself. It's like, and Harold goes, "Are you a moron? You thought you could end a criminal conspiracy by destroying a few test tubes." And I'm like, "Oh, this is good." And then once Danny leaves, he pulls out the bleach and he starts cleaning. Like, I'm like, this dude, like, that was an amazing moment. That was just a really, really good moment there. And also, it goes back to what you were saying. It shows you how naive Danny was. Like, he literally thought he could end the hand by destroying some test tubes. Like, the fuck?
Right. He was convinced. That's he's such a good pawn in this series that he's so goddamn naive.
Right. So
maybe that's what brings Cage out of his shell in Defenders, because Danny's just so stupid.
And I would, yes.
That'd be, you know what? I would applaud that. I would go back and like even right. Like, you know what? This just got better because they made it make sense.
So, yeah. You got anything else you want to say?
Oh, by the way, Harold dismembering people with a hammer is fucked up.
Oh my God.
I wasn't mentally ready for that to happen.
But again, it goes, and that scene too was also great because you see how he would treat Ward, and he would call Ward over to deal with this stuff, and Harold didn't flinch. Right? He's literally beating people's teeth out with a hammer, and he's like, "Oh yeah, so hey Ward, yeah, I need your help to take care of this for me." And hey, come on, don't be a baby about it. It was like, yo, dude, you're cutting up people. Your son is watching you cut up people, and you're gonna make your son dispose of bodies. You are a horrible person. Horrible, and you can see the toll in like the subtle moments of when Harold would see the blood on the cuffs of his sleeve. It would fuck with him in his mind. Like all that stuff was, like I said, like the Wards to me were the most intriguing and best characters, and one of the reasons why, yeah, I can't say this entire, again, outside of the whitewashing thing, I can't say that the writing is all bad, because there is some really, really good writing and some really, really good characters on this show here, and they were there. I just wish that they had done it for everybody. So, all right, cool. Anything else you got?
No, that went better than it could have gone.
Hey, listen, man, I told you, you know, we had our moments, but yeah. not too bad. Not too bad. See?
No.
Like I said, I think that when you have a legit with a show like this, and when there's a lot of emotions running high, it's kind of hard to have legit conversations on it. Like even with my critiques of the show when I was watching it and afterwards, I would tell people, it's like, well, like I can't fully go with it's just terrible, because again, I love the Meachums, and I think the way the Meachums stand up at the back of the show is just really well, and as a really intricate and interesting dynamic to it that I think a lot of people can relate to. So I can't just outright deny it there, but yeah, it also has its problems. So yeah, so. All right, folks, there you guys have it. That is our Super Tuesday recap and review of Iron Fist. We'll have 2 more of these this year, I guess, because we'll have Defenders coming in August, and then apparently Punisher's coming in November. And can I actually say that, which one are you more worried about, Defenders or Punisher?
I'm way more worried about Punisher.
Okay, yeah, same here.
I'm way more worried about Punisher.
I don't know how that story works.
I'm so, like, we did the character, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm super nervous about this.
Yeah, I don't know how that show works. I don't.
Like, you and I aren't not creative people, and we're not people who I won't stick to an idea. Like you convinced me to go see Batman vs Superman with an open mind, because I want things to be good, and I do want this to be good. I am scared it will not be.
Because Defenders is 8 episodes, right? Maybe they make Punisher 8 episodes too.
I think they're going a full 13.
Oh boy,
it's a cocky decision. It's a bold move that I cannot support.
Bold move, Cotton. See how it works out for him.
No, that's how it feels. Like, ooh, see how it works out for him. I know, because I've seen it. People are hyped about this, and I hope you get what you want.
We've talked about this.
First and foremost, I hope you know what you want.
I don't think they do.
Secondly, I hope you get it.
I've seen people really excited about this too, and I don't know.
I'm not gonna yuck anyone's yum. That's not who I am. If you're into it, be into it. I'm not gonna sour you against it. But when we review it, I will be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I don't know how you get a series out of those 6 episodes. How much more is there to flesh out?
He kills everyone. Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you, there's, like,
Oh,
what?
now they're coming for him. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you kill a lot of people.
Right. Then he kills
Eventually,
everybody.
they come for you. Wait, didn't they come for him in Daredevil? Wait, what story are you telling me? Like, there's only so many Punisher plots you can tell.
Yeah. I don't, that's the problem. Will there be a lot of blood and death and stuff like that? It has to be. I don't know what the story is. Because again, we talked about this when we did the Punisher character corner. Go back and read those Punisher those
Whole lot
Punisher
of
books.
miniseries, not many ongoings.
Right. And the thing is that the reason why some people have problems and issues with the Netflix shows now, I don't see how having a character like Punisher thing makes it worse. Because
Yeah.
like
I'm glad it's dropping after Defenders. You know, the only way it gets better, the end of episode 7 is he trying to shoot into a building and the bullets bounce off, and the door opens and it's the goddamn Defenders, and it's Defenders versus Punisher for the last 6 episodes.
but okay, yeah.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that. Well, like, do we? I need to know more information about it. Like, I need to know what other characters are in there. Like, the Punisher stuff worked in Daredevil season 2 because of the characters that were playing off him. Like, so you love the scenes with him and Kingpin. You love the scenes with him and maybe that's what they do.
Apparently, it's a lot of a new cast, and it's hard to do this with a new cast because you don't know how they're supposed to react.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Like knowing how Karen Page had to react to, because of her actions and things that we know about her character, her reaction to Punisher is going to be different than Catholic Matt Murdock.
Yeah,
and we knew that.
And that's
and
the
that
thing,
was
like,
part of the narrative, like freight of it. Now with new characters, without it's going to be, if you're doing this show, you can't show me Frank Castle's episode 3. Like you got to show me like 2 episodes of like some shit happening, and then someone that we've been watching get their head blown off, and then have the Punisher logo walk away.
Yeah, it's
he's not good as like talk about someone who is interesting enough to carry a series.
Well,
holy shit!
And you got to think about it. In season 2 of Daredevil, the character had more emotion because he wasn't technically the Punisher at that point. But the end of season 2 of Daredevil was literally him becoming this cold, emotional. He destroys. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how you do it. We'll see. I don't know. So, all right, folks. There you guys have it. That's our review for Iron Fist, and we'll be back this Wednesday with a new Super Tuesday recap on this week's new episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then next week we'll be back. Easter weekend we'll be back with part 2 of Green Lanterns on the Character Corner. So check out both of those shows, Super Tuesday Recap on iTunes and Character Corner on iTunes. And also email us at mtrailerreviews@movietrailerreviews.net. Till next time, folks, we are out of here. Peace.